There are levels of cold. When I crossed the Pyrenees mountains, I discovered most of them. At first, there's the cold that comes from the wind chill and the altitude. And then there's the cold that comes when the sun goes down. No matter how many clothes you wear, if you ride long enough, then the cold always finds its way in. On my chest, legs and feet, I was wearing zero-fit base layers, which the company claims has technologically enhanced heat threads inside, which brush against the skin to generate warmth. It seemed to have worked so far, but this would be the real test. On my Garmin GPS, I could display elevation. This would give me a graph showing what was to come 30 miles ahead. After a while, the displayed elevation sharply peaked at 7,500 feet. For 30 miles, I watched this horrifying landmark grow closer. When I reached this peak, I entered a tunnel where the temperature dropped even further. I would be in that tunnel for over 4 minutes. After I emerged, I pulled over for petrol and to find a hotel in Spain that would take me down off these mountains. For the next hour, I rode against the light, watching the sun slowly disappearing over the horizon in a dazzling display of beauty. The sky is not as clear as this in England. It doesn't stretch out as far, and the sun is not allowed to show as many colors. Then the dark fell, and I was colder than I'd ever been before on a motorbike. But the base layers were doing their job. Sometimes a spasm of shivering would take over, and after a moment, it would settle. I tried to distract myself with thoughts of warmer places to come, and by watching the sun make a slow and graceful bow out of sight. By the next morning, I had attached a cheap thermometer to the top of my forks and could now see the temperature as I went. It's currently showing 7.4 degrees, but I know it's less than that. After crossing Europe through rain, wind and snow, I was finally heading to some heat and to the off-road. I was joining the Trans-Euro Trail, a volunteer-made set of GPX files which covers over 100,000 kilometers of Europe's gravel roads, muddy trails and treacherous rocky paths. I found the trail and got myself ready. I know what you think I'm doing, but actually I'm letting air out from my Airhawk seat cushion. It worked wonders to keep my backside from breaking when on the motorway, but when off-road, I need to feel every bump of the track. In my last story, the off-road to Monaco, I had ridden for 19 days through the French and Italian trails and now considered myself one level above beginner. Perhaps beginner plus. But after only 10 minutes, I hit a tricky section and found that any confidence I had once gained was now gone. The result of 3 months without riding trails. Who made this route? Oh my God. How long would these steep type turns go on for? I stopped to look around. It's been about 15 minutes on the Tet and I can't handle it. Have I forgotten how to ride? Apparently it's 24 degrees right now, 24.1. Incredible, the temperature change. I've got a friend. How did that happen? Incredible. Thank God it's downhill. I think my chain's gone. The chain was fine, but I was scared. Every hill seemed steeper than the last. It was like this on my last trip. Many tiny leaps of faith. I just needed to go. Things are rarely as bad as we think they might be. My leap of faith gave me the confidence to tackle the rest of the trail, and then I came to smooth roads set against a crystal clear sky. I went for petrol and met this English family at the attached coffee shop. They invited me to sit and I enjoyed telling them about all the things that had gone wrong already on this trip. Those are the best stories to tell, and it felt good to tell them. By the time I left, it was getting late. As it was Christmas Eve, I wanted to stay somewhere a little fancy. I checked my phone and saw a boutique hotel that had a cheap last-minute deal. It was south of me, in a place called Teruel. I checked the distance, over 2 hours. The sun was low on the horizon. Screw it, I thought. I've ridden across France in winter rain. I can get to Teruel. And so I set off. After 30 minutes, I turned on the elevation and to my horror, saw the road was getting higher. I was heading into another mountain range, and it was getting dark. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Just like there are levels of cold, there are levels of suffering. And on that road to Teruel, I suffered. I watched the temperature plummet on my thermometer. 14 degrees, 9 degrees, 4 degrees. And then it was too dark to see the number. First, there was confusion. Why were there still mountains? I had already crossed the Pyrenees. It was meant to be warm now. Then there was anger. Why was this happening to me after already enduring so much? Then there was fear. What if the bike breaks down? Do I have enough petrol? What if the road keeps getting higher? Then there was only despair. I hadn't felt like this in a long time. There were no shops, no petrol stations, no cars. It was Christmas Eve. Everyone was tucked in bed or enjoying a drink with friends. Only I was out here on this road. And then about 45 minutes away, I just snapped out of it, I think. I just thought, right, okay, I've survived this long, I can make it. I can do it. The fuel's gonna hold up. I can make it. The things that go through your head, the reasoning that you do. Well, if I've made it this far, then I can make it that far. And That was cold. That was so cold. Merry Christmas.